Thank you, Chairman Durbin, for a very strong and appropriate statement that you just made. Thank you for holding this hearing. Thank you for involving me and others in this hearing as well. As the former chairman of this committee, I convened a hearing in 2017 on the importance of protecting young athletes against abuse. It took place before Larry Nassar, the now disgraced team doctor for the USA Gymnastics, was convicted. Our committee heard then from other gymnasts about a culture in competitive sports that made it difficult for many girls to come forward and report their sexual abuse. That hearing convinced me of the need to champion legislation on which I worked closely with Senator Feinstein, then ranking member, in 2017. Its enactment means that coaches, instructors, and others who work with young athletes now are mandatory reporters of child exploitation or abuse. Because oversight of the FBI is one of our committee's important duties, I also repeatedly pressed the FBI for more information on its handling of the Nassar investigation from 2017 to the present. FBI personnel ignored my staff's request in January 2018 for a briefing, and when I contacted the FBI by letter to restate the request, I was advised that the Inspector General was reviewing the matter. The FBI, while one of our premier law enforcement agencies, has stumbled in several ways in recent years. In a recent example, an Associated Press investigating identified half a dozen sexual misconduct allegations involving senior FBI personnel over the past 5 years, with each of the accused officials avoiding discipline. Another shocking example came to light this summer when the Inspector General completed his report on the handling of sexual abuse allegations against the former team doctor for USA Gymnastics. It was then that we learned that the FBI severely let down dozens of teenage girls, several of whom bravely came forward in 2015 to report their abuse. Children suffered needlessly because of multiple agents in multiple offices at the FBI neglected to share Nassar's allegations with their law enforcement counterparts at the state and local levels. Disturbingly, the abuse occurred at the hands of someone who was entrusted with their medical treatment and well-being. Brave survivors, now poised young women, are with us today, and we welcome you and your testimony. The FBI, in its July 13th response to the Inspector General's report, attributes this episode to a few agents at the FBI field offices who neglected to carry out their duties properly. I suspect there's much more to that story. One issue, not talked about much, is that the FBI has a division in Washington, D.C., known as the Violent Crimes Against Children Unit. This component of headquarters was notified by two of its field offices about the Nassar allegations way back in 2015 and 2016, respectively. The Children's Unit employs subject matter experts, so it is well positioned in the FBI to guide those field offices on their duties in child exploitation cases. Because it's housed at headquarters, this children's unit also was uniquely positioned to play a coordinating role by supervising case transfers to the appropriate FBI field offices. And this unit was well positioned to offer qualitative supervision of field officers' work. For example, by ensuring that follow-up occurs in sensitive cases. Tragically, it's obvious these things did not happen. The FBI, including this children's unit, also placed publicity and its image before victims' protection in this case. The children's unit helped develop a white paper, or more accurately, a whitewash, after the Nassar case attracted national attention. Ensuring that truthful information was provided about the FBI's role in this investigation was clearly not the main priority. This is a serious problem at the heart of the FBI, not a case of a few errant agents. At today's hearing, I hope to hear more about exactly who at FBI headquarters, other than its children's unit, knew about the Nassar allegations, how and when they learned of these allegations, and what they did in response. If there's one thing the Inspector General's report illustrates, it's this, that we need to make sure the Bureau is more effective and held more accountable. This episode is unfortunate too, because, as I've said repeatedly, there are many extremely fine men and women in the FBI, and many who serve their country well as employees of that superb agency. I look forward to hearing from young women who were the first to bravely come forward and share their experience of abuse. I also hope to hear from our government witnesses on how to improve the FBI's approach in child exploitation cases and how to ensure negligent agents are held accountable, just like Chairman Durbin has asked. Finally, I want to mention that I'm working on legislation to close the legislative loophole in the sex tourism statute that the Inspector General flagged in his report. This gap in the law allowed Larry Nassar to evade federal prosecution for assaulting children while traveling abroad, and that can never happen again. I look forward to working with the Inspector General, members on this committee, and making this necessary change in law. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Grassley, and we look forward to working with you on a bipartisan basis.